and I'm getting a little redundant on you.
That's okay. So the responsibilities of the Justice of the Peace are small claims, debt collection, evictions with a $20,000 jurisdictional limit. Also truancy court and Class C misdemeanors punishable by fine, as well as administrative hearings and magistrate duties, as well as performing inquests.
And I think probably so it clarifies, like, I think what, and both of you speak to this, is like, what impact does that have on, you know, whoever's at home, right? So like if you know, you have the wrong person in there or whatever, like, I guess what would be the negative, right? If you had the wrong person there, not necessarily your opponent, but like just, you know.
Could you clarify, please?
So I'm trying to establish an impact to those things for, you know, like, you know, you talk about like a young family at home, trying to deliver some relevance to them and let them see what it does, you know, what the JP does. So if you have somebody making the wrong decisions as a JP, how does that affect them? If you have them making the right decisions, how does that affect them? Is it better? I did a great job with the first round. Hopefully it's better there.
So, you know, sitting in the courtroom and watching some of these juveniles that come through with those Class C misdemeanors, I notice, you know, something that I want to make sure that I do is not necessarily give them a fine, make them pay a fine, because in most cases, their parents are going to pay that fine. And I want the students that have fell into difficult situations to learn a valuable lesson and have hope that although, you know, this circumstance they're in is not the best, but make sure that we have proactive programs for our juveniles, that they can be court ordered to these programs, that they learn something and they can take away with something valuable, a valuable lesson, and not necessarily a fine that has been paid by their parents. So that is something that I will do in the courtroom, is make sure that our students, our juveniles, that they are not being fined for their difficult situations, but they're learning a lesson and know that they're going to have a successful, hopeful future.
And, you know, my follow-up added about a little over a minute to her time, so, you know, in all fairness, I want to make sure I go ahead and add that time to yours if you need it. So you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you. All that Angela said in regards to the duties are correct. She did leave one off. The Justice of the Peace may also perform weddings, and that is something that I plan to do. I will restore the court to its full constitutional authority, which it is currently not in JP2, and I will also allow people to exercise their constitutional rights to marry. And then the second part of the question was, why do you want, you know, what does a good quality judge look like? So a Justice of the Peace could be a very much a rubber stamp position. Most of what we do is already outlined in law. It's evictions have a process. If you go through the process, the eviction happens. If somebody misses a step of the process, then they have to start the process over again. So there's a lot of law that dictates how the cases that come into the court, how they need to be processed. But there's a lot of room for innovation, a lot of room for growth, and there's a lot of room to look at situations and take kind of a novel approach. For instance, diversion programs for Class C misdemeanors. You know, not everything needs to be, even though there is the option of fining them, you can also create diversion programs. If somebody comes in and, you know, has a Class C misdemeanor that has something to do with money management, you know, you can send them through a finance course, and JP3 actually has done some amazing things with some of their programs to get people the education that they need to prevent them from coming back before the court. And so that's something that I would really look into, and I think it's something that's necessary, and it's really builds the community versus just rubber stamping everybody that comes through.